shuriken attacks.
We'll just have to wait and see how this second game ends up panning out. We have Team Peps over on the purple side, Gem Le Poulet on the orange, and we have Mewtwo and Buzzwole headed up in top half. And, well, once again, you know, we don't have to worry about this experience share, do we, Zoink?
Yeah, no, I think one light bulb did make it into this game, but only on the Clefable, so nothing on the purple side for Team Peps. Early damage from that Suicune and Scyther is pretty strong, but Potato's still going to shrug it off and move towards this tier 1 goal zone, trying to steal away any of that early experience. We talked a little bit about how Scyther has found a spot in this metagame as such a strong carry if it can stay ahead. Well, Team Peps has made it their #1 objective to shut that down as Bruv takes central. Early game aggression works out for Team Peps on the top side. Gem Le Poulet really being forced and pushed to the brink already at the start of this game.
Look, it's the rules. If you're going to play Greedent, you have to be annoying and you have to go and invade, okay? It's written in the handbook, Zoinks.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, Bruv learned under the tutelage of maybe one of the best of this Pokemon, right? And does jump over the wall, finds a really scary target. The berry's giving this little Squovette a little bit of room to work, and there is no way. Bruv makes it back to the tall grass. Admittedly, there's not too much of it to hide in, but it will have a chance to recall, and Bruv's Squovette makes it home.
I'd say that was a pretty successful mission. Wasn't impossible. It didn't end up walking away with any of those buffs, I don't think. But they did end up managing to reach that Greedent phase. And well, Qatar had to farm for scraps in the opposite area.
And there it is, an evolution animation as Qatar will be evolving into the Scizor. I did not, I thought we saw it with the Rocky helmet, but it will not hang around for too long, as that is Marv on the hunt with this mean look Umbreon. Pretty terrifying move for this Pokemon to have access to. A Scizor stuck inside that circle. Nothing it can do against those range attacks. Traffy does find a way to shut down Bruv in the central area invade and gets a little bit closer to that Greninja evolution.
Another thing I am noticing is Gem Le Poulet are pretty much even across the board in terms of their levels. Only being that Espeon that has reached that level 6. However, Team Peps, they already have a level 7 Talonflame on their side. So a great start to this squad, also having the most points dunked so far.
Yeah, and a big Regidrago buff going over to Klaus as well. It does give you an increased scoring speed, and with 30 points in pocket, we could see that happen. Of course, Talonflame with that high speed stat, able to move across the map very quickly, but instead, we are just going to be focusing on preventing experience from ending up on the orange side of the map. Swablu, Altarius immediately taken down. Of course, it was the same case with the Regidrago, and now Klaus is going to be heading back into that central area. I think Qatar was able to steal away 1 or 2 buffs on an earlier invade. I don't think they're going to want to let that happen again. Team Peps keeping a close eye on their own central.
No, you have to have as much experience over on your side as possible, but Team Peps really trying to starve them out. Now having their first Unite move available being that Talonflame. Otherwise, they are going to successfully secure this Regieleki. It's only an Espeon trying to defend, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that one.
Yeah, Gem Le Poulet instead actually going to be focusing their resources on the top side around this Registeel, holding close to that Clefable and try to get as much healing as they possibly can into the team to try to contend with the Umbreon and the Buzzwole. But now they got a whole lot more to contend with as Team Peps with a big push towards the top side. Klaus with a flame sweep gives them a lot of space, and now the runway is clear to start hitting the Registeel. Gem Le Poulet doesn't let that happen for long, though, as they rotate in to join the fight as well.
Oh, they're just going to play passively for the time being, waiting for the perfect moment to collaborate together and make the dive. Otherwise, Registeel's making their way towards them is going to go back into position and replenish that HP. Team Peps trying to see if they can take a pick, but, well, surprisingly, they're actually just going to leave the Registeel for the time being.
Yeah, Traffy does go down, shut down by this grid. And also, shout out to Traffy for playing Surf Greninja in 2026. I've not seen that one in many moons. That will be Potato utilizing that Unite move, trying to get outside of that Suicune's range of influence. Scizor on the run as Potato trying to chase down, does use the eject button in tandem with the smackdown, so they will be just slightly shy. That bug type Pokemon chase down will favor the Scizor as they'll make it towards that bottom tier 1. Traffy does pick up a KO to the Umbreon, but they're just shy of that level 9 Unite move, hunting for any bit of experience they can find on it so far. Potato has that fly on cooldown, and they will get to the speed berry and get away way, unless Red Illusion Dive finds them. I mean, just so many orange side players on the hunt for that Talonflame.
Yeah, really trying to hunt it down. Even Clefable took to the skies with their fly of their own. Otherwise, there it is. The water shuriken burst coming out from that Greninja. Is looked by the mean look, but it isn't going to stop them from getting those goals. And now we have that flame sweep coming on in, but it didn't end up landing its mark.
Yeah, every single Pokemon dodging it with an absolutely incredible Eos dunk, leaping into the sky to throw those points into the goal zone and jumping right over top of that flame sweep. Class not able to stop the scoring, and now Jimlu Poulet in a much better position than they were moments ago. Still trailing on points, but they have a Regieleki walking, and if they can rotate quickly, they could contend with this topside Reggie. That being said, Team Peps have already brought it down to about half HP, and Suicune currently the only Pokemon within range to contest with the last hit.
Oh, it's the one that's in range to contest. However, they are the ones that are struggling behind, only being at that level 7.
Wow, yeah.
So Team Peps is the one that is going to secure that buff for the squad, the extra experience, but also that attack and special attack buff. Once again, it's just a matter of trying to get whatever experience is on the board before making their next moves.
Yeah. Also, I just took a glance up at the mini-map. I don't know how, but Regieleki was around like where a Selgor joins the map at some point. So I think Potato was really forcing that poor Regieleki into some awkward spots. But Klaus and Potato worked together to knock out that Pokemon before it can land on that tier 2. Interesting choice for Jilumba Poulet. They're instead going to try to just spend 2 Pokemon to defend this goal zone and the remainder of the Pokemon on their team towards that tier 2 on the bottom side to try to catch up a little bit on the scoring front. If another Regieleki can spawn in this match, they will have the chance to send it towards only holding 19 points goal zone. Team Peps, though, they scored on top side, and now they're going to look to try to even score on bottom side as well.
No, they are going to retreat knowing that jump pads are available, but Jimlu Poulet are going straight into that central area to try and stop Marv in their tracks, send him back to the Pokemon Center. But I've got to say, that was a great play from Jimlu Poulet, even though they ended up giving up those dunks up in the top path to Team Peps, to still have such a close point lead there, or point deficit, sorry, at 231 to 199. Some really interesting plays there from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing a lot better job of contending this time around. Now see, Qatar showcasing the power of Scizor at this moment of the game. Does not really care about being trapped in the mean look at this point with a level 13 Scizor. Does opt to use the full heal to cleanse that mean look this time around though, and is going to move towards the middle of the map. Dangerous point to go down at this point at level 13, and of course giving up a lot of experience. Now, like I mentioned before, that Regieleki did spawn in before this Groudon, so it will be walking towards that tier 2. If it lands, it will break that tier 2. So a simple score that happens literally a second before we enter. So 219 will be the scoreline for Jimlu Poulet.
Once again, it's a close battle as we just saw the indicator come up on the map. Groudon has been in a rage, trying to find a hit, but there we go. Mewtwo has locked onto that Scizor.
Oh, that's a lot of damage, but of course you could just hide within the confines of the Clefable. Mewtwo Unite to try to add a few stunts, and it works together as there was a big combination of orange side players, bruv, with an amazing belly flop into the mix of it, and they get one KO immediately after. The Mewtwo getting involved. Klaus finding a KO on the backside. Traffy down to below half HP and is nowhere near the Clefable to link up for a little bit of healing. Groudon now about half HP left, and it's only 2 versus 5 to try to steal away this objective.
Yeah, but Traffy has been soloed out of the Groudon pit, unable to try and contest this Groudon, so it's going to go over to Team Pep. So while it was a close battle with these score shields on hand, that might end up increasing their lead, but Traffy, it looks like they're just going to go straight for the home base there with their own 50 points.
Yeah, there is around a minute left on the clock, so if a Groudon buff could be stolen away, this could be a big shift for Jimlu Poulet. However, the Scizor is going to have to deal with a lot. Of course, a tanky Pokemon, but that Groudon damage buff is cutting through that outside armor. Exoskeleton, I think I was going to say, that would be correct with Scizor, I think. Either way, Greninja will take down the Talonflame. Well, that will be it. Team Peps are going to win this one 2-0 over Jimlu Poulet, as they will take this second game, and in our week number 1 will be 2-0 on season record, at least in this day number 1.